All right. We are getting there. I think we're going to be live here in a second. I think we're on YouTube. Maybe almost. Are we live? What's going on here? We are live. Yes, we're on Twitter. We're now on YouTube. Welcome as people kind of join in. First thing let's do. I'm just going to post on Farcaster real quick. Actually, let's quote tweet my last thing, put in the YouTube link, put a boom, put a bang, cast that out. Okay, welcome if you're on Twitter or joining here on YouTube. If you have any questions, feel free to put in the chat. I got to talk about what we're going to do today first, and then, maybe we'll look at a few things. We are building a game. That's what we're doing here, building Stoke Fire. Been working on this for a couple months now, and it's it's done well. We'll just say that it's been fun. We have lots of players, and we have daily players. We have people playing this every day. The retention is seeming to be high, which is a good sign. We've got, I think, we're up to 160, 170 some players that are playing this daily right now, and we're still in an early access kind of thing. So I kind of am manually adding people right now, people that want to play. So if you're watching this, DM me on Twitter or Warpcast and be like, hey, I want to play. I saw you on the live stream. I'll probably, give you a higher preference chance of joining. So a couple things we're going to do in this live stream. We'll see how long it ends up being. But we're working on adding swapping. So this is Stoke Fire, little preview or I guess summary of what this is for maybe people that don't know. This is a mobile game. It's all built on chain. So every action is on the blockchain. And your whole goal is to build up your village, grow your population, and you've got to stoke the fire at least every 3 days. Stoke Fire is kind of like a checkpoint where it's at that point, that's where you get new points, you get more score. That's when villagers can move into your village, and you've got to feed your village every time you stoke fire. Those villagers are hungry. So, keep feeding them, keep growing. And then you can go, this is just a test one here, but you can then go and steal resources from your friends, the other villages around you, and you're trying to compete with them a little bit. So it's kind of a fun social game. You can attack or you can raid, and then you can defend. You can try to defend your resources. So that's kind of a quick look at what Stoke Fire is. And then one of the things I just kind of started on this morning and that we're working on now is swapping. So this is starting to be the UI for swapping. And so what this is you have to use fire. That's our token, the fire token within the game. There's a couple different uses. Right now, whenever you stoke fire, it costs 25 fire to stoke and kind of keep going. And then you can speed up these resources. So if I chop wood, I think I have everything running here. It takes 6 hours for your villagers to chop, and then they come back. It takes 3 hours for gathering food. And so then you can use the fire token to speed up. So you can speed this up just once a day. So you're kind of limited to how often you can do it, but you can use the fire token for that. And so just making it easier for people to get fire. I'm going to be coughing a decent amount today because I have a cough. I've had it for a little while. So I'll try to cough away from the microphone so it's not in your ear, but sorry about that. So making it easy for people to in the game with their wallet that's created with the app to be able to swap for fire with ETH, and that's kind of what I'm working on here. And so that's what we're going to be working on, kind of in the middle of the UI part of that, and then I got to figure out the on-chain part. So we're going to do that. But I wanted to look at a couple things here first. So we have this Stoke Fire channel on Farcaster, and it's been getting kind of fun. So I wanted to look at it. There's been some memes and things. I've arrived the coveted second place. So this guy has just gotten to second place, as we can see here. I am in first place right now by score. So just some fun memes. We've got Trish and Jawa. They have been battling it out, apparently. I guess they're friends. They just keep stealing from each other food and wood. So that's good. It looks like the Chris, we've got all these battles going on. We've got all these like grudge matches of people trying to get revenge. You destroyed my wood supplies, coming for you. So the Chris and Kamado, I guess they're fighting for each other. When you raid a village and get 0 wood and 0 food. Yeah, that's that is kind of the worst when that happens. No one likes to see that. Let's see, are we live on Twitter? Just checking here. Yeah, looks like we're good there. Teamer, I think I see that you messaged. I will send you a DM right now. So then you have that and we can chat after this. So yeah, if you're not on Farcaster, that's kind of where the community of Stoke Fire is right now. We're kind of building it out here. We don't have a Discord yet. You have to sign in with Farcaster to be able to play the game. And that's just kind of how we're starting it out. Maybe eventually I'll change it to where, you can kind of come from anywhere, but it's kind of like a good limitation to get started. Just make sure that we have the right kind of users and as we're kind of in early access. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it right now. What are you defending today? Let me check. What am I defending? I think I'm defending food right now. Don't come and attack me. Actually, I'm not defending anything right now. What should we defend? I don't have much wood. I do have a lot of food, so I'm going to defend my food. So let's do that. Let's see how many results are here of people defending stuff, if this loads. Anyways, I just wanted to check this out because this is kind of, 50-50, only 4 responses. So it's a 50% chance right now. But this is kind of where the Stoke Fire community lives right now. And it's been fun. People kind of sharing different things, different memes, which I like. So I want to see more of that. And if you're playing the game, I can add you to Stoke Fire so that you can cast on it. I kind of have to manually add people right now. Maybe eventually I could make that automated at some point. Yeah. So, okay. The other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to get your guys' feedback. Just kind of sharing an idea. I've been thinking about this for a while of having kind of like a new battle system, right? Like it's very simple right now. It's just, the defender defends wood or food, and then the raider chooses wood or food. And if they choose the one you're not defending, they steal it. If not, then the defender wins. So it's a very kind of simple thing, right? And there's a tiny, there's a little bit of strategy there based on, looking at what the resources are and stuff like that. But, I think there's definitely more we can do. And so I've been thinking about what's like the next version of battling in Stoke Fire look like. At the same time, we need more things to use your resources for. And so that would also be a part of this, like building more things so that then you can use those in battle and stuff like that. That's kind of where we're going. And I've had lots of ideas, but I didn't have like a perfect, which I still don't have a perfect, but a perfect layout of like, this is how the new like battle version can work. So here's the idea. Curious what you think if you're listening, and you can comment in the replies, or if you see this later on YouTube, you can DM me and let me know. So the idea is we can use our resources to build different weapons, right? So maybe we do like spears. So you can build spears, you can build bow and arrow, so different weapons. And maybe like the other one I'm thinking about is like horses. So like if you can build kind of like knights in a way, like you can have horses. So you have kind of like these 3 military units. So you're building the weapons. You then are putting that stuff on your villagers. It would kind of be like all in one action of choosing to go fight, go attack, go raid, and you have to use some of your villagers to do that. So it's going to take up your villagers. You can't just not use your villagers, but you have to have the weapons for them to fight. You can't just have a plain villager go fight. Like you've got to have the weapons. And so you can then choose how many, bow and arrow, how many archers you're going to send with bow and arrows, how many like spearmen with spears, or how many like knights with horses. And so you have to build up that armory So that's part of it. Like you can use your resources towards building those things. And so you have to, that's the first step. And everyone can see that. So there's some strategy there of everyone can see what you have. They know, like how many weapons you have, what things you have. But they don't know if you're going to actually choose to fight with those. And so then the next part, I don't know what, I had this image here. Maybe I can. So I guess what I was thinking here is, so let's draw out. So we've got archers, and then you've got knights, and then you've got spearmen. So those are like our three. Well, those will be our three types, and it's a little bit like rock paper scissors. Like it's and even what we have right now has a little bit of that kind of logic. But I think kind of like a rock paper scissors ish kind of battle logic, I think could be really interesting. Plus, when you add in that you have to build the resources to do it. Plus, you can decide how many villagers are you going to have do that thing. Like you could have 5 spearmen, 2 archers, and then what you're going to do. So you have to build these units, or the weapons, so that you have those units, and then you are choosing how many of these units are you then going to raid wood with, or how many units are you going to raid food with? You could do a little bit of both, I guess. Maybe you have some knights go here, and you have some archers go there, and then you just have spearmen go there. Or you are just going to have your spearmen as well. Everyone's going for food. So you have this decision of choosing which resource to go raid, kind of like we already have right now. Then at the same time, let's see if we can draw this or have this. So at the same time, the defense has already set this up. So beforehand, they've already decided, I am going to go have my archers, and they're going to go defend food, right? And maybe they only have archers. And this is where I don't have the specifics kind of nailed down. But then there's like this little like kind of strategy game of what resource are you going to go for, kind of like we have right now, but also what units are you going to use at that resource? And you can see what units they have because this is public on the blockchain. So I can make it visible in the app. Like, hey, this person has these units. So what are you going to do? And actually, it's going to be more like the defense. The defense is already set. They set themselves first, right? So the raider is going to be looking at someone and being like, okay, they have certain units. Do I think they're going to try to defend their food or their wood with them? What should I then send to go raid their village? And then as this battle happens, there'll be, some kind of like algorithm / calculation of who's winning. And kind of how it will work is similar to rock, paper, scissors, right? Where this is how I'm thinking, at least, because I think it logically makes sense. And actually, this is very similar to Age of Empires 2. If you've played, that game, I think knights will beat archers because knights can kind of dodge, they're fast, and they can come up and beat the archers. Spearmen beat knights because they got the long spears, and so they can kind of stand their ground and like attack the horses. And then archers beat spearmen because spearmen are slower, and from a distance, archers can beat the spearmen. And so you got like this circular thing, right? And so you're using that as you're fighting to decide which kind of food or wood you're attacking or raiding, and then which how things are going to end up. And so this is my idea, right? Like I don't have the specifics completely ready yet and figured out, but this is kind of it adds a little bit more strategy to it, right? Where you're using your resources you have. So you have to build up towards these armies, and you could potentially, you could lose your resource. You could also potentially lose villagers and weapons. Like you're going to lose some of those things depending on how the fight goes. So there's some little kind of like skin in the game kind of stuff where it's like you've kind of built up your army, and you're going to lose some of these weapons and villagers through this. And so then it's then all kind of, for each person, it's also a strategy act as well of how many villagers are they putting to each thing. Like you've got to have villagers building your spears, villagers building your archers, building your horses or knights, whatever I decide you're building there. So you're allocating villagers to those things, or you're allocating villagers to gathering more resources, or you're using your villagers to defend. So it adds more strategy to what each person can have a different strategy of where they're kind of putting their priorities or what's important to them at that point. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of different kind of strategies or things that could come out of this, because there's just more decisions to make. Like right now, it's pretty simple, right? Like you've got deciding to attack wood, deciding to attack food, defending which one, and then you can send your villagers, use your villagers for wood or food. Like there's only so many things you can allocate villagers to right now. And so I think this will add more kind of strategy. The other thing I'm thinking is that maybe this is like, I don't know, if you've played the game, you kind of see I have leveling up. So you level up your villagers, that adds more things. So it starts out that you're not allocating any villagers. It's just you chop wood, you gather food, and it's just a default of how much randomly you get. And then you can start to make a decision of how many villagers you're going to go for each resource. This could be like a third step after that, where it's like the battles get more complex like this. Right? It starts out simpler, so people can kind of learn it, get a feel for it, and then they kind of jump into this. I think that would be a good like gradual kind of learning process, where this isn't right away. This is like battles V2 that you get to when you get to a certain level with your village. So it gives something to unlock as well. Okay, so Sam is saying he likes it. Okay, that's good. That's good to hear. We got someone that likes the idea. See if there's any, if you have any other thoughts on it, let me know, or any ideas for how I could pull that off or make that better in some way. That would be good. But yeah, so that's, this would take a little bit more time to build probably, because there's a little bit more complexity here. And that's one of the things I need to figure out is like, how could I build part of this or like build, like add a little more to the current battle system that goes towards this, that makes this start to play out, and I can kind of build there and have like gradual steps towards this, instead of just having to like build all this, take a while, and there's no updates to the app, and then all of a sudden I can launch this. So hopefully I can find like a middle ground where I can like build towards this. That's what I'm thinking. I like how the game is super simple, so adding complexities like this will be hard to communicate. Yes, that's true. I think, like the UI would have to be good, that kind of like walks you through this. And then also the idea I mentioned with like, you don't start with this right away, like you gradually get to this. I think that would be better. But I love extending the whole thing, and love that you're doing it while leveling up so people get gradual exposure. Yep. I like it. Saw this infographic. Haha. What infographic? Not sure. Or maybe you're just talking about my infographic. Yeah, I don't know if the infographic really helps that much even explain this. But actually, it's kind of funny. This Excalibur is where I first like designed, like this is my first concept of Stoke Fire is in here. And you can kind of see that some of the original ideas are actually like what we have today. I had this idea of, you're doing the different actions, and then you have like the cooldown amount. And then I think these numbers are to represent how many villagers are doing that action. So I already had that idea. I already had like this image of the fire. And then I think this was like the original 2 images that I started with, and I started building it. And then you can see like I have population, wood, food. And then this I came later and added like the defense stuff to try to mock that out. But yeah, kind of interesting. I still have this Excalibur draw of like some of the original sketches of the idea. Okay. Well, probably not much more to say on that. I think this is like actually working towards some of this is probably some of my next steps. Like if you're playing the game, there's already kind of like, not that I think the battle system basically needs upgraded. Like I think there's like a meta currently where it's like kind of obvious to go and try to raid food or raid wood, because usually people are defending their food, and whenever they get enough wood to build a hut, they just build it right away. And so I think the meta is getting a little, it's like too simple to like know the optimal thing. And so I think building out some extra versions, I think could be good. And a first step I could do with this, which would be fairly simple, is just make it so that you can create spearmen, archers, and knights. I think I'm more so want it to be, you can create spears, bow and arrow, and maybe you can like train horses or something. And just so you can start doing those things, so you start getting those resources, but maybe there's not, that could be the first step, is allowing you to build those, but maybe you can't do much with it yet. And I build that into the battle system as I go. I don't know. I need like a good like first step to like go towards this that I can build. My notification didn't fire, by the way. Okay, so one thing I have noticed some people dealing with that is the the notification, like you have to go gather or go chop with notifications on for the first time for it to actually set it later, because that's when it sets the notification, is when you first chop. So if you had just updated maybe to it and you have the notifications on, but you maybe gathered or chopped previously, you're not going to get a notification for that. So it will be maybe your next time if depending on when you updated. So that might be what you're dealing with that. Yeah, I got someone else that just got the notification, so that's good. I'm trying to see if there's any other messages coming in. Well, thanks for the feedback on this idea. I'll probably be playing around with it more in my head. Having some interesting, actually, so a game, curious if anyone has played, I think it's called Snaps. Marvel Snaps. Has anyone heard of this? It's a normal kind of mobile game. Yeah, Marvel Snap, no S at the end. It's a mobile game, and it kind of has a similar kind of logic to it, of battle logic. It's kind of like a card mobile game, but it kind of does the same thing where you have 3 locations where you can attack, basically place your cards, and then the opponent is also placing their cards. And so it's a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors logic of guessing kind of which location they're going to put their next person at. And then each card has its own kind of abilities, different amount of power of strength that adds to your side. And you're just trying to like win 2 of the locations is kind of the whole thing with that. So this kind of has some similarities with that. Like obviously with any game or any project thing we create, like we take inspirations from other ideas, other games. And that's kind of what I'm doing. Like I'm pulling ideas from Age of Empires 2, pulling ideas from Clash of Clans, pulling ideas for this battle mechanic kind of from Snap, as well as kind of the Age of Empires 2 logic of which kind of units do well against each other. So that's kind of where this idea kind of came from. And obviously like Marvel Snap, I think it does really well. People really like that game. So I think there's something there. I think there could be some interesting kind of like battle logic that could make it fun. But then, you also have the limitation of the blockchain where everything is public, right? Everything's on the blockchain. So any resources, any things you have, people can see that and they know what it is. And that's where currently how it works is whenever you create a defense, I'm actually saving that data locally to your phone, or I save it to my own database. But you're putting a hash, so it's like encrypting that decision, and it's putting it on the blockchain. So that's when you do a commit defense. That's what's happening. It's encrypting that, putting it on the blockchain, and then someone attacks you, not knowing what that is, right? Because it's encrypted. And so that's why you, as the defender, come back to the app later and you reveal. And that's when you actually more or less upload your decision that you had made to the blockchain, and then it decrypts it on the blockchain so that everyone knows what the answer was and we know who won that battle. So that's kind of the mechanic that I have for the current battle system. And this would kind of do the same, just be kind of add more to it, where the secret that you're doing as the defender is which archers or like, well, I guess the secret is, what are you defending, your food or wood? Or in this case, you could defend either. You could split up your villagers and kind of go defend either. And like how many, and are they knights, are they archers, are they spearmen? That's your secret. That creates a false secret that will save locally into the database. You'll then encrypt that, put it on the blockchain. So no one knows what it is except you. And then once someone attacks you, then you reveal the secret. So it will have a similar kind of battle mechanic as we have right now, where there's the 3 kind of steps. So we got the defend, you commit your defense, someone attacks, then you reveal your defense. And so it will kind of still work with that. You're coming up with all these solutions yourself, or are these projects where you can borrow some of this from? Solutions, do you mean solutions as in like me coding this up? Or are you saying solutions as in like some of these ideas of how to do this? I'm curious what you mean by solutions. If you mean like me coding it up by myself, I mean, even this kind of commit idea of like encrypting on the blockchain, this is like kind of this is a pattern that's been used before in crypto. That's like, I think it's called like commit reveal, where you commit encrypted data and then you reveal it later. And it's actually like one of the only ways, where to put the hash for blockchain verification. Yeah, so that whole idea, it's called commit reveal. And this has been used in crypto stuff before, because that's really the only way, at least right now, to like have secret information on the blockchain, right? Because the blockchain is completely public, but you can encrypt data, put it on there, and no one knows what it is except you. But then that means you have to come back and reveal, you have to decrypt it later. And so that's actually a way that you can do like random numbers on the blockchain, because like, it's known like in Solidity and blockchain, you can't do random numbers. There's nothing completely random. And so then people can kind of like hack that system. But with commit and reveal, you can, because you have to do it in 2 transactions. You commit your random number, it's decrypted or it's encrypted. And then later, after the things kind of happen, you reveal it later. So there are ways, it's kind of like a somewhat standard practice. And so I'm trying to leverage it in this like game mechanic. Because I think it's, if you think about games, one of the kind of interesting thing about games is like the unknown. Like, you don't know what your opponent's going to do. Like, and if you always did, like, it wouldn't be very fun. I feel like I'm going to lose my voice since I'm coughing and stuff too. So it's really interesting because you kind of have to have some way of like hiding information, or it's just all public and it's just like not as fun. All right, so that's pretty much that. Let me know if you have any other thoughts about that. Otherwise, let's jump into getting this UI working for our swapping, because this is going to be important. This is just going to make things easier for making getting Fire easy, because people have to do that. So I already kind of have something here. This only, let me see. Do I have this saved? I think I made it like uneditable or something. Editable true. We'll do that. There we go. It only lets you type in numbers. Since this is a simulator, it's not going to show the keyboard, but it should only show the numeric keyboard. And then I made it so you can do a max. It will pull your ETH balance, and you can do a max. So I have a few things there kind of working. We don't have actually swapping it yet, so we have to build in that logic. Kind of have to finish this as well. I think the other thing I want to do is, let's see, unchanged text. So let's add some logic where if the, let's see, numbers only. Let's say if this number is greater than your balance, think I have to make this a number as well because they're strings right now. So if it's greater than that, then I think what we're going to do is make the text be red so that they know, oh, you can't actually, that's like, that number's too big. So we'll do like set text error true, and then I'll make lagging a little bit here. Set text error. And then you'll see this will make it so we can make the text red so that kind of give them an idea. Let's see, where's color? So text error. If it is, we'll do get tailwind color red. Otherwise, have what it is. All right, let's see if this works. Yep, so 3. If I do 1.3, that shouldn't be. Oh yeah, we have to else set text error false. Set it back. So 1.3. So if I do 3, it's not red yet, but then I do 9. Now it is. Now it's not. There. Yeah, yeah. Give a little feedback there. Okay, that's cool. That works. Looks like we have a couple more people joining. Let me know if you have any questions about what I'm doing or about Stoke Fire in general. I'm glad to answer questions. This is React. This is TypeScript. React Native, actually, because this is a mobile app. Let's see. Anything on WordCast? No. Or if you guys just missed my spiel about this new battle system that I'm thinking about, because that would be cool. So you might have to go back and check that. Okay, so what do we need to do next? We can click max to get the max. I think the next thing is we kind of have to like duplicate this and have fire here, obviously, and put that down there, and then be able to like flip them so that you can swap between both. So I have to figure out, I think I want to make this into like a component that they can both work in, and then I can reuse it. But there's going to be parts of it that change potentially. So we'll have to think about that. So for now, let's just make it right here. And we'll call it like swap input. And we'll move it to another file later if we want. Okay, so we're going to want to grab, I think, this whole thing right here. Put it here. And then anything that's red, we're going to make a prop that's going to pass this stuff down. I think that will be good. So then we can kind of replicate things, and we'll kind of see how it works. Like this is like just kind of like a dumb UI that you view things, and then this will handle all of the state and everything like that. That's the plan. Okay. So we need a few things here. We need input, which is a string. I believe we need set input. We need, let's do onChange text. We'll pass that, and this will bring in a text string and be void. Then we don't have to pass in the set text error. We don't have to pass in set input, so that's good. But then we need our balance. That should also be a string. That might be everything. And then we have input. Wait, I don't need set input. Unchange text balance. Fix the red stuff. That's what we're trying to do right now. Yeah, we need is text, or just do text error. And that's a Boolean. Okay. On max. So what do we want to do on max? Yeah, I guess we just pass in that as well. I think both. So yeah, another thing we'll have to do, unchained text could potentially be null, because this doesn't show it right now, but we have your input and your output, right? The input, some swap kind of exchanges, they let you put in the input number and it will calculate your output, or they'll let you put in the output that you want and it'll calculate your input. For this, we're only going to do and allow you to change your input because frankly, it's just easier. And I think if I remember right, the smart contract for Uniswap v2 I don't think it lets you do your output maybe. So if this is undefined, we won't let you edit it. And that's how we'll know that's like your output. So this editable could just be unchanged texts does not equal null. And that's how we know it's editable. And then on max, this will just return a void function. It also could be null. Does that work? On max, we could add that here. Let's see, possibly undefined. What if we do that? What if we do, I don't really want to do that. Does that work? If this has a value, we call it. And then we can kind of do a similar thing for this. Let's take that out of here. Maybe I'll just throw it up here right now. And then we unchanged text. Okay, we got rid of all the red stuff. So that's good. Let's see, is there anything else going on here? Count me in, better late than never. Oh, see a dude might be here, maybe. He might be with us. Nice. Is the first and only app I'll activate notifications for. Well, that's good. I actually don't activate notifications for anything. Yeah, this was a new feature that I just launched today, that now there's notifications for when your villagers are done chopping or gathering and before your fire burns out. So yeah, I never have notifications, but a lot of people wanted this. It was kind of like the most requested feature. So finally got that out this morning, and people seem to be fairly happy. Okay, the other thing, this sell and buy. Oh yeah, there's a couple other things actually. So like right now, it's hard coded to show ETH. Maybe I have to think about this a little later because you have your input and your output, but then also you have the token changing depending on which one we're wanting to swap. So we'll have to think about that. Yeah, so now what we can do is we throw this up here, throw some of these things in, input. Then this is where we use unchanged text. And throw this right here. That's where that is. We got our balance, which will just be balance. Got our text there, which is text error. And then we've got on max, which is just on max. Okay, boom. So there's swap input. Let's see if it actually all came through. Looks like it did. All still works. Max, yep. Okay, so then what we can do, we copy this, get rid of that. And then instead of having unchanged text, we set this to be null. We set on max to be null because there is no on max here. Undefined. Okay, so we got double now, but you can see it's actually going to be doing double. Let's see. Let's do a view here. Add a little bit of height in between, and we'll kind of do some. We'll put it like a button here. I mean, actually, let's see if I can find this. What we're really recreating is the Uniswap UI. That's kind of what I'm going off of. One, because that's what people know. So this is the Fire token on Uniswap. If I pick ETH. So yeah, so see how we have sell, we have buy. Ooh, that is something I need to figure out is the dollar amount underneath. I'll have to have some kind of like API. I don't know. I'll have to reach out to some API to calculate how much each token is worth or something. Yeah, so then you can swap these. So we'll have this button in the middle, but this is kind of what we're creating. You can see we have like the max in the same way. So you can see the resemblance, but you know, this is what people are used to. They're used to Uniswap. So it makes sense to more or less copy what Uniswap does. So yeah. Okay, so one thing we can do is, oh yeah, we already have output and set output. So this can be output. And we'll be able to set that on change text. We'll actually like, that's when we'll do like a quote. We'll like quote how much of the other token you get, and then we'll set the output and it should show it here. But now at least this doesn't update the same way. Okay, the other thing we need to do is we don't want to show max if on max has a value, then we'll show this. Otherwise we don't. So I think I can also get rid of this now. So yeah, so you can see that kind of pushes that back. I wonder if there's another way we can do this, because it would be nice if these lined up still, just for UI. So what if we did Enabled, disabled. So what if I just like disable this based on max? Opposite of on max. So we're going to disable this, and we're going to hide it. We could make, I don't know, is this is this interesting? Seeing someone code. I don't know if this is an interesting thing or not. But that's what we're doing right now. Okay, so if on max, if not on max, then we could do like hidden maybe. It's either hidden or we'll do like opacity 0. Hidden actually looks like it removes it. All I'm trying to do is keep the exact width. Boom, like that. So opacity 0. Then this stays over there and it's lined up. But then obviously we've got to configure this to be fire instead. So let's see, the other thing we can do, I have fire balance, so we can pass that here. And then we're gonna pass, either we pass like a Boolean of is fire or is ETH, and then we just set it in here. Maybe that's best, and we just kind of like hard code it in the input. Or we pass in like an image, and we pass in the image and pass in the value. We also need to change sell and buy. Let's do, yeah, because what's the UI? It's sell buy. So let's add is sell Boolean. And then we pass that in is sell yes. Is sell false. That is not sell. So yeah, now we got sell by. And then I think I can pass in if it's ETH or fire. So let's do like token image. So we'll put that in both of them. We're making more props here. And then what this will be, as you can see, we have to get this asset for the image right here. We'll put token image there. And this will now be a prop. So we've got that. And then we need to go add, actually maybe I already added it, assets, images, Firecoin. There we go, there's the Firecoin. So the second one will start out as the Firecoin. And then what do we call our, it's like the token name, token symbol. Yeah, so symbol. So let's do symbol. This one will be fire, like that. I mean, it just does Maybe we don't need the $sign in that case. Symbol ETH. And then we pass that in as a prop. See, programming isn't that hard. You guys are starting to figure it out. Like, you're just kind of making stuff up, putting it in code, you know, stuff like that. So now we put our symbol here, put our symbol there. We already have that there. Save. And now, now we break it. See? Real easy. I don't think it's going to let me do that require token image, because I'm passing in this stuff. Yeah, I don't think it likes that. I think what we'll have to do, what's this return? A node require. So I think what we'll have to do is update this and add the require directly here. So it is actually calling that and passing in the whole thing like that. Can you even see this code? Is this too small? Need that. So then this token image isn't a string anymore. It's now a node require type. I think that's right. Maybe. It's not assignable type string, number, image source. Maybe it's an image source. Let's hope it's an image source. Type. Expo image. Yes. Ha ha ha. I think. Okay. And boom, look at that. Just like that. It is working. Just like that, it is working. I don't know if I like this padding here. Seems kind of wrong. I mean, they have, it is lined up here. Even with that, and the numbers will probably be bigger for this. So potentially it will push it out that way anyways. So I'm considering hiding this whole max button again, basically is what I'm saying. Like so. Seeing if we want to do that. That does also look kind of weird though. We could we could give some padding on our own. I don't know. It's like that, or it's like that. See why it's already sticking out more because of this here. I think I like this better. So we can get rid of this stuff again. And don't really need that. All right, I think we'll go with that. That looks pretty good. Okay, this is starting to look like swapping. Am I right? It's actually like starting to look like something. Maybe before we go too much further, maybe we just throw a button in down here. I think we have something called an action button. Let me see, what's this take? It takes a few different things, throws in some children, or actually I think we need, well, the other thing is I think we're gonna want this button to do a couple interesting things. I like how when there's nothing here, the button tells you to enter an amount. And then once you have something, we'll probably have like a swap button, and it'll just say swap. So enter in amounts. You know what? I'm going to find somewhere else I'm using one of these. This is what I like to do. I like to go find where I'm already using a component, and then I just kind of go do the same thing, right? Excuse me. The only thing is I think action buttons, I think action buttons have like a pop-up modal, which we don't want. Kind of like Stoke Fire does. I think what we want is called a basic button. We want something basic. All right, back to swap. Copy this in. I'll then remove all this. This will eventually be something we'll do, adding loading and all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. Let's see. Let's do is swap loading, set is swap loading. It is kind of a wet and rainy day today. Kind of not a fun day. So it's a good day to be inside and just coding away. We'll call this enter an amount. What we can do is that logic of if our input dot length equals 0, we will do that. Otherwise, it's swap. And then the other thing we can do, I think disabled. It's disabled if input dot length equals 0, or we could disable it if text input, text error is true, because that means we know we have a wrong amount and we don't want to try to swap that. So let's do another view here and just do a height of 4. Okay, let's see. Look at that. Enter an amount. We need to make it look more disabled, don't we? Then 0.2, now it says swap. Now we can swap, so that's cool. What should our disabled look like? I think do I have class name? Yes, I do. So let's do, so if one of these things are true, I guess we're going to copy that. If that's true, okay, so if that's true, then we're going to say BG purple. Okay, see, now it chains. Is that actually clicking though? Let me see. Disabled is disabled. is disabled is what we actually want. And actually, I think this should handle, yeah, it's disabling if it's that. So we kind of changed the naming there. That was maybe a bad idea. Okay. Is disabled. Yeah, now I can't click it. So that's good. It's still disabled because too high. I wonder, we shouldn't say swap in that case. Maybe we do something like error, or we could do input too high. So here, this is going to get kind of messy. If we have text error, then we could say input too high. Enter mounts, input too high. It's fine. I feel like it should actually show up red here too. I don't know. That's fine. That's fine. I think it's good enough. And then it turns swap. Okay. This is starting to come together, actually. Okay, so the other thing we need to figure out. Oh, I wonder if, do I need this? Let's just see if it handles. No, it doesn't handle it. So we do need that. Better color and UI disabling look. Okay. We've been going, we're close to an hour here. Let's see. Maybe a couple more thoughts on here. Nope, we just got a couple notifications. All right. So now we need a button where we can kind of have like a swap UI button. So maybe if I do this a little bit bigger, and then we do like a touchable opacity. We're going to make like a custom looking button here. I think I have these icons maybe. Something like this. Where does this icon come from? Oh, it's just a font awesome. Well, let's try a font awesome, because I think there's probably enough things, enough icons we could use. We're gonna put that in there, and then I don't need props, but I need name. And then for now, at least, we can use the same refresh icon. You'll see what I'm doing here in a second. Okay. Ooh, that's kind of ugly. I think so. We're gonna have to do a couple things here. One, let's create a view around this. We're going to give like a padding, make it rounded, give it like a color, background color. And then this, we'll have stuff in it eventually. Okay, then maybe if we do class name, flex, justify, center, we're putting this in the middle. Oh, we don't want that. Not all of that. Oh. So we're gonna have to put a view around this even. And then this will handle kind of centering everything. Let's see. Why does the button think it can be so large? Let's add a little shadow there. And then is that reloading or something? So it should be, this button should be in the middle. Let's also make this be class name. Text white, does that work? No. BG. We need to ask our AI, can you make this icon white? Oh, color white. There we go. Can you make this view be as big as the icon is and center it in the screen? Because for some reason that wasn't working for me to do. Justify center, item center, flex, yada yada, looks similar. Why size 48? That seems big. Let's see what happens. Whoa! Got the big icon down. Okay, padding's too much. That's better. Okay, so that's working. See how it centered it? That's what I was wanting. But now what we need to do is, if we could, this might mess things up, but we kind of want this to be, absolute Z10. We want it to be above. Why isn't that working? It's behind. Why is it behind? Maybe if I do Z10 here. Can you make this button show up in front? Can you do that for me? That's what I just did. That didn't work. It's still looking like it's behind. Anyways, then we do like a -2. That's not doing anything. What is my like UI not updating here? What is going on here? It's like it's not moving. Nope, still the same. What if I did a 5? Okay, what if we do padding? Man, it's like nothing's moving this thing right now. 20 pixels. Okay. Okay, we're moving that. If I do negative, there we go. Now we're starting to get somewhere. I'm trying to now put it right in the middle. Something like that, a tiny bit more maybe. Something like that. But now we've got this weird border thing going on. Oh, wait, okay, maybe another way we can fix it is, Maybe this needs to be Z10 here. There we go. There we go. Boom. Now we are talking. We can get rid of this Z10. We now have our flipper, our little flipper button. That's what that is. And so let's see if we can make it do the flip. So this will be a little tricky. So it's either we set a Boolean and then on press we're going to change, or we have to like flip. We're going to have to like flip all these things, like the balance. Yeah, which things have to flip? The balances, these two different balances. The input and output, those could like, I think how that would work is if I set this to like 0.2, I will then get some kind of output. We could then flip it and just swap them. So we swap them. And then we'll have to swap the image, the symbol. So I think that could work. So in a way, what we need to do is we need like an input balance and an output balance. And then we're like setting them instead of having it be hard-coded to Fire balance. And you have like an input image, input symbol. So I'm just going to have a lot more state variables, I guess. Or we just do the Boolean. That might be easier, actually. I think that might be easier. So let's do a Boolean. You'll see how this will work. So we'll do is ETH input, and then set is ETH input. This will just be our little swapper. And we'll set it to true to start out. And then when you click this is ETH input, and we'll just set it to the opposite of is ETH input. Boom, simple as that. You do that change. And then we're just going to have a little bit of is ETH input. I'm just going to have a little bit of kind of some copy code, but it's just kind of making these different options here. So true, like the symbol is ETH input. If so, we got ETH. Otherwise, we've got Fire. Then we can actually just copy this, put it there. Is ETH input, then we want to have our balance. Otherwise, we have Fire balance. So then we can also change this. This is going to be cool. I'm telling you, this is going to be cool. Once you see it in action, we'll see how this whole swap thing works. Oh, wow. They both became the same thing. What just happened? What? So, because I set them the same. Got it. Yeah, so we have to do something opposite here. Because, this is going to be kind of some weird logic. So because ETH is input, that means it's not here. It's the other. That's going to be weird. So we have to kind of swap everything. That's why they call it swapping, I guess. We're swapping. everything. So there's that, there's this. Is a input, then that means fire is actually what we want here. Boom, like that. And so now, boom, a little bit of swapping going on. But then the other problem, the other thing we need to do, we want this number to change. And so how we can do that is we can do a little bit of magic, which will be, we'll this is like the goal. I'm sure there's like a helper function for this, but we're just gonna try to do this. Equals input. Then we will set, let's see, how does this work? We're kind of just swapping through things. We have our input, then we're gonna set our output to be input. Actually, I don't think we need this because it doesn't happen at the same time. So set our input to be output. I think we don't actually need a temp since this is in React. Let's see if this works. Boom, it does work. Point 2. I think the other thing that we need to do, because now look, our error handling is not quite correct. And it's still pulling, our max button does not work. So now we have to do some logic change. So if is ETH input, then we do that. Ahmad Slope, we need to play the game. Great. I'd love to have you play the game. If you're on Farcaster, maybe reply to one of my latest casts and I'll see it and I could give you access. Right now, only people that are playing on Farcaster can have access right now. So I'm not sure where you're coming from if you know what I'm talking about when I say that, but okay, so this will handle on max for our different inputs. And then set text error. So let's see, current balance we'll say is fire balance. We'll call this like temp balance. And then if is ETH input, then we'll set our temp balance to be balance. And then we'll set this to be our temp balance. Okay, perfect. So now I can set this max. Yep, it actually sets. Set this max. That sets. And if we go over, sets that to be red. Interesting that it sets that to be red as well. Don't know if that's actually what we want. If I set this and we go higher, that's good. 8, 8, 7. There we go. All right, that's working. That is actually working fairly well. And we can even do our whole swap and everything, which is cool. So really, like, the UI is pretty much there. Like, the main thing we'll have to make sure we do, how to play the game. So if you go to stokefire.xyz, there are, here, I'll just show you. This is the website. This is the mobile app. You can click on download it on the App Store or Google Play. But if you click this, it will kind of show you that you have to have access. So I have to give you access. But you can go over to the App Store. You can download this. So you can go download the app. but you have to sign in with a Farcaster account, and I have to give your account access. So I don't know if you know what Warpcast is or Farcaster, if you're familiar with that. If you're just coming from YouTube, maybe you don't. But it's kind of like Twitter, but it's like a crypto kind of Twitter. And yeah, if you have an account, I can give you access to Stoke Fire through that, and that's kind of what could work. So. Sorry, I keep coughing. Yeah, so the only other thing we'll have to think about with the UI is after you do the swap, actually updating your balances so those are correct, and then like kind of refreshing everything so that it's empty. But I think those are things that we can do and figure out. And so we'll probably do that afterwards. So now we're kind of to the point where we can handle actually getting your quote. So figuring out what the quote is and then actually doing the swap, which will be cool. So before we do that, let's just commit everything we have. And maybe I won't be doing anything else on the stream. This might be close to the end because it's been a little bit of time now. But let's just review this real quick. Make sure everything's looking good. I kind of like how this code has turned out. Like, it's not too big, and I like that I'm actually fine having this be in the same file for right now. But I like that we were able to make kind of this inner component and then have the swapping all inside there, and then being able to switch which token is showing. That's pretty cool. So yeah, that's looking good. Images are good, obviously. This is where we added the tab. So we added a new tab, a swap tab here. And we show that. So make sure we're on the right branch here. Added the UI for swapping. All right, there we go. So we got that. So yeah, maybe I'll kind of look over what next steps I have, and then maybe that will be kind of where we will conclude. Let's see if anyone else on Twitter is saying stuff. Okay, not really. It's really hard for me to know how many people are on Twitter watching because right now it just says 144, but it's like, I don't know how many of those people are live or if they just like viewed it and then like jumped off. It doesn't really say that or show that. So yeah. The only thing is maybe we don't want this swap icon. Maybe we want, so they have like this down, and that's what it does. I never know what the icons are in Font Awesome, but I bet the AI does. So let's ask the AI. Where was that? Right here. Can you make this be a down arrow icon? Because that's what Uniswap does. Arrow down. Sounds right. Got to run this again. Loading. Is there a reward for playing the game? I mean, there are rewards in the game. You can see there's rewards that come in ETH. There's our down arrow. That works. I think I like that better. Yeah, so there's rewards that you accumulate by playing the game, by growing your village, having a higher score. And those rewards come from this Fire token's volume. There's a fee on the volume. So on buys and sells, there's a 2% fee that goes to reward players. So that's kind of how the reward kind of mechanic works. All right. updated icon. We'll just push that. Okay. So things are looking pretty good. To review what we're going to have to do, let me find... I think I have some stuff up here on my other browser. Yeah, so I'll bring this down here. This is the router contract for Uniswap. And so we're going to have to call one of these functions, I think, to get the quote. So I haven't done this before, but I'm pretty sure there's this view. Is this a view? Maybe get amount out. Returns amount out. Return, get amount out. So I think I can call this get amount out, put my in amount, put in maybe, you'd think it would be the addresses of the tokens, and then this would return the output from Uniswap. So this will be a call every time you're updating the input for the swap. It's either this one or this one. So that's why I have to figure out if it's one of those two. And then after that, we're going to call like this function, I think. There's a couple of these ones as well. Those look about the same. Maybe it is this one. But yeah, so we're going to call one of these. We got to pass like a path and stuff like that. And that will actually do the swap. And then we'll see the results and show like a result. So yeah, that is pretty much our next two steps, is getting a quote, actually calling the swap, and then like showing success or error with whatever happens with this. So it shouldn't be too difficult, hopefully. I mean, 2 calls to smart contracts. We don't have to write any of the smart contracts. They already exist. They're already there. And so we can just kind of write this to do that. Yeah, so that's our next steps. Yeah, I think I'll probably end it here. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes, and my voice kind of hurts. I'm kind of losing my voice, I think. But thank you for joining me on this. We were able to successfully create the swap UI, which is fun. So yeah, pretty cool. This is going to be a really nice feature. I think it'll just make things simpler in the game. I think eventually, like, I'm going to have some like drawers where you can like click here and you'll have a drawer come out, and I'll probably move like the swap tab to there, because this isn't really something you need to see all that often. And now it's kind of making it a little crowded on our tab bar right now. So yeah. Doesn't look like there's any last comments or thoughts. So I think I'll end it here. Thank you for watching, and I'll probably do something like this again, do another live stream. Maybe I'll make some more shorts at some point to kind of update things. And you can always find me on Twitter and Farcaster. So see you.